So adenovirus are the viruses which usually cause the respiratory disorders or the respiratory infections. So Swiss cheese is actually produced by a bacterium, that is Propionibacterium shermani. So Acetobacter aceti is usually used in the production of the acetic acid. So statins is one such drug which is available in the tablet form, and that statin actually it is used as a control the blood cholesterol. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to today's session on chapter 10 of 2nd PUC Biology, that is Microbes in Human Welfare. I am Dr. Divya, Biology faculty, Vidyashram Pre-University College, Mysore, Temple of Excellence. So this particular chapter mainly deals with the role of microbes in various industries or in the preparation of medicines or for various agricultural farming related, and in all these fields how exactly are they useful for the human beings we shall study in this particular chapter. So we all know that microbes are present everywhere. They're omnipresent, right? So you can find them in air, you can find them in water, in soil. Not just that, there are certain microbes which thrive or which survive in temperatures which go beyond 100 degree. That is, we have the hot geysers that are there. That is in the hot geysers. So all these regions or places also microbes can survive, and there are a variety of microbes which are there, such as the protozoans, the fungi, the bacteria, the viruses, the prions, the viroids, and many more. So in today's session we shall discuss how exactly these microbes, be it a fungi, a bacteria or a virus, how exactly they are used for the beneficial of the society. One of the previous chapter we had studied how microbes cause a lot of diseases in human beings. But apart from that, there are a lot of microbes that are actually beneficial for the human beings. So about all those we shall study in this particular chapter. So in today's session we shall look into the different types of microbes that are there, and what are the uses of microbes in the household product we shall see. First, understand what are the different types of microbes that are there, because I had told you microbes are in the form of protozoans, bacteria, fungi, and viruses, viroids. There are some bacteria which are pathogenic, some viruses which are pathogenic, fungi which are pathogenic likewise. So first, talking about bacteria. So bacteria classified according to the shape they have. So first one, we have the rod shaped bacteria. So here they have given the rod shaped bacteria. So this depicts the rod shaped bacteria. So they have a elongated body and they are visual under the magnification, under the microscope, having a magnification of somewhere 1500. So depicts a magnification of 1500 of the bacteria which are rod shaped. Next, moving on to, apart from that, there are bacteria which are spherical shaped. So spherical shaped bacteria, as you can see, they have, this can be observed under a magnification of somewhere 500 magnification. It is spherical shape bacteria. So next we have, apart from that, the rod-shaped bacteria, usually they have flagella. So what are flagella? Flagella are nothing but whip-like structure. So say for example, a rod-shaped bacteria, they have a whip-like structure which is called as the flagella. So this flagella actually helps the bacteria to move around for locomotion. So that is why the flagella will help. So you can see here they have put a picture in your textbook, that is NCERT textbook, wherein they have put a picture of the rod-shaped bacteria which is having flagella-like structures, which are nothing but the whip-like structures which help in movement of the bacteria. So these are the different types of bacteria that are present, especially the rod-shaped and the spherical-shaped bacteria which are useful in a number of industrial use for the human welfare. So apart from that, we shall also see the different types of viruses that are there. So viruses, a bacteriophage is one such virus. So one of the best example that I can give of is a bacteriophage. So a bacteriophage, so this is a bacteriophage. Bacteriophage. So the bacteriophage is made up of a head. So what is the head region of the bacteriophage made up of? It is made up of a crystallized form of proteins which are nothing but called as the capsid. So don't think that it is made up of only one structure, which is the capsid is not just one unit. Several units of the capsomeres together, they collectively form a capsid, and inside the capsid is present the genetic material, either the DNA or the RNA in that particular virus. And that capsid is connected to these pins which are, and as well as prongs, which help the bacteriophage to cling on to the bacteria. So what are bacteriophages? Those viruses which infect the bacteria are called as the bacteriophages. So these bacteriophages, they actually have pins and prongs which actually help the bacteriophage to go and cling on to the bacterial cells, therefore infecting or causing problem to those bacterial cells. Next we have the adenovirus. So some of the virus, one of the best example for a virus is the adenovirus. So adenovirus are the viruses which usually cause the respiratory disorders or the respiratory infection. So this is a adenovirus. Even this also has a adenovirus. So it has a capsid. Next there is one more type of virus which is rod shaped, and the best example for that is the tobacco mosaic virus. So it is all these magnifications you can see, because viruses are more smaller than bacteria, right? So that is why to visualize them under the microscope, a higher magnification is needed. So here we can see the rod shaped viruses that are there. So viruses can be in the form of bacteriophages. Then we have one best example for a virus which is having a capsid, that is the adenovirus, and there are some viruses which are rod shaped, which are nothing but the tobacco mosaic virus is one best example for that. Next, talking about the fungi. So fungi are nothing but fungi and the bacteria. So when talking about the bacteria, they usually occur in colonies or in group. So this is one colony of bacteria, this is one colony. So they multiply in a faster rate, producing a large number of bacteria which can be used in a large scale for various purposes for the human welfare. So bacteria growing on a petri dish, where on a nutrient agar media, you can find this particular picture here. And then fungi. So fungi also are in the form of colonies. So we have various types of fungi such as the rhizopus, the aspergillus, then we have trichoderma. So all these are fungi which occurs in the form of colonial mats on the petri plates or in the soil, and they are helpful for the plants, and also they are helpful for human beings in a number of ways, because a lot of biofertilizers and all that can be produced out of these fungi. So there are the fungal colony which you can see on a petri plate on a agar medium. So these are the different types of that is microbes that are of great use to the human being. So now we know about the different types of viruses and the bacteria, their shapes, the fungal colony and all that. So we'll move on to studying the role of microbes in household products. So every day in a house we use a lot of things. So in that household products itself, there are some microbes which are beneficial to the humans. The best example that I can give you is of the curd, right? So curd is filled with lactobacillus, and lactobacillus is one such microbe which maintains the gut health. It helps in keeping our intestine or our gut healthy, right? So that it aids in the digestion process and all that. So here we'll talk about one such bacteria which is called as the lactic acid bacteria, that is lactobacillus. It is called LAB, lactic acid bacteria. One of the best example for a lactic acid bacteria is the lactobacillus. So usually lactobacillus is found in milk. And when a different kind of temperature or optimum temperature is provided to that particular milk, the lactic acid bacteria will start acting on the particular milk and it will convert the milk into curd form. And that curd form is now rich in lactobacillus, which when consumed, the lactobacillus will enter into the intestine and keep our intestine healthy. So, they usually grow in milk and they convert the milk into curd. So, here what lactic acid bacteria, that is lactobacillus, will do is when they are growing, they produce certain acids. And these acids help in the coagulation. So, coagulation is nothing but formation of clumps. So, they help in coagulation of milk, wherein they help in partial digestion of the milk. Therefore, that coagulated milk is now called as the curd. So, that is how, they will digest the milk proteins resulting in the formation of the curd. So, that is how they convert the curd to milk. So, what they do? So, these lactic acid bacteria that is there in the milk, when an optimal temperature is provided for that, they will convert or they will produce a lot of lactic acid, or they will produce a lot of acids that will coagulate the milk, and also it will partially digest the proteins that are present in the milk, converting the milk or curdling the milk into curd. So, that is what they do. So, that is why whenever you have a fresh milk, you can add a teaspoon of curd to that fresh milk, and next day morning when you wake up and just take a look into it, the whole milk would have been converted into a curd. Why? Because the curd is supplying like a mother culture. It is a mother culture for the lactobacillus. That lactobacillus, one spoon, you're lifting it in the form of curd and you're putting it to the milk. So, therefore, the lactobacilli will again multiply. They'll produce more amount of acids. Therefore, again curdling the milk. That is how the curd is being formed. So, small amount of curd, if it is added to the fresh milk, as an inoculum, or it is called as a starter culture. As an inoculum or a starter, it will contain millions of the lactic acid bacteria, that is lactobacillus, and this actually, when a suitable temperature is available, they will multiply and they will convert the entire milk into curd. And this curd is actually highly nutritious when compared to the milk. Why is it highly nutritious? Is because it contains a lot of vitamin B12 in it. That is why. And it increases the quality of the milk, or that is the curd. It will increase the production of the B12 in the curd. That is vitamin B12. And vitamin B12 is one of the important components or important vitamins that plays a very important or vital role in the human beings. And in our stomach too, the lactobacillus, that is the lactic acid bacteria, they play a very important role in checking the disease causing microbes, because if the good bacteria grows well in the intestine, they will keep the bad bacteria at bay, right? So, that is why prevent the bad bacteria from growing or causing a lot of diseases. It is always said, if our gut or the intestine is healthy, then our whole body will be healthy. That is why it is very important to eat curd. So, this is how lactic acid bacteria, that is lactobacillus, is a very important microbe which is frequently used as a household product in the form of curds. So, likewise, there are various other microbes that are also involved. So, one of the example is the Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is yeast. So, they are unicellular yeast, right? So, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, they're commonly called as the baker's yeast. Why? Because in the bakery industry and all that, to make bread and various other pastries and all that, they use the Saccharomyces cerevisiae, so that this Saccharomyces cerevisiae can ferment that particular dough. So, what they do? They take a lot of white flour or refined flour and they will make a dough out of it. After that, they will add Saccharomyces to it. So, when you wake up in the morning, or if you observe after a few hours, the dough would have risen. Right. So, that is for that particular process it is actually used. So, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, it is used in dough, so which is used for making bread, and therefore, because it helps in the process of fermentation in the bakery products, it is called as the baker's yeast. And apart from that, there are also numerous other beneficial role of the microbes. We shall study about that in detail. So apart from household products, in other things also the microbes are used. We shall see about it. So we know that there are a number of traditional drinks and foods that are prepared by fermentation process. So there are people who prepare traditional fermented foods. The best example I can give you is of dosa is famous in the South India. So if it is for North India, we can talk about dokla, right? So those and all, they are fermented foods. So if you want to bring about fermentation or increase the fermentation process in dosa, during dosa making, idli making, or in that batter, or during dokla making, you can add yeast to that. So that is how they will also help. So a number of traditional drinks, as well as not just that, not just food, but also a lot of traditional drinks. So say for example, the traditional drink that we have is toddy. So toddy is one of the traditional drink which is found in southern part of India. Why southern parts? Because southern parts of India have large amount of coconut, right? And it is actually got from the coconut palm. So that is why. So toddy is also a naturally fermented drink. The bacteria that are present in that particular coconut palm will actually ferment the toddy, and that extract is collected by the people and it is drink that particular toddy. So that is how it is got. It is got from the sap of palm. That is by fermenting the sap of the palm. There are various alcoholic beverages that are made out of rice, wheat and all that. So there also microbes will ferment them and we can get alcohol out of it. So for that also it is used. And not just that, microbes are used to ferment fish. So to prepare sushi and all that, a lot of the dishes wherein sushi and all that, they will use fishes which are uncooked fishes, that is raw fishes. So what they do there is to add the flavor, they will ferment the fish and then they will use it as such without cooking. So for that particular purpose also it is used. And to make fermented soya bean, then fermented bamboo shoots, all these they can be used. So fermented bamboo shoots is good for pickling, all that. It can be used for fermentation of various types of traditional foods as well. So for that also microbes are very much important in the as a household product. So next, talking about other microbes which are also important in the household product, such as the Propionibacterium shermani. It is called Propionibacterium shermani. So Propionibacterium shermani is usually used in cheese making. So cheese is also a fermented milk product, right? So we know that cheese, who doesn't love cheese? So from where exactly is cheese formed? It is got from milk. The milk is will be fermented and it will undergo various processes and then it will be converted into cheese. So cheese is one of the oldest food items that are used throughout the world, in which microbes were first used. And there are, depending on the type of microbe that is used to prepare a cheese, cheese are of different types. So different varieties of cheese are known by the characteristic texture, then how they look, that is their texture, whether they are too much porous, whether they are very less porous, that is about the texture. And talking about the flavor, so their flavor also varies depending on the microbe that is acting in the fermentation of that particular cheese. Next is also taste, and all these depends on the type of microbe that is being used to produce that particular cheese product. So we shall take an example of two important cheese varieties. The first cheese variety is the Swiss cheese. So Swiss cheese is actually produced by a bacterium, that is Propionibacterium shermani. So if you can see here, this is Swiss cheese. So Swiss cheese has large number of holes in between. Why? Because it undergoes a fermentation by the bacterium, that is Propionibacterium shermani. This bacteria actually creates large amount of carbon dioxide in it. So that carbon dioxide, so you know that carbonated drinks produces a lot of bubbles, right? So likewise here, because a lot of bubbles are being created, that bubbles, wherever it bursts, it will start making aeration spaces like this or holes like that. So that is why Swiss cheese will have a lot of holes. So that is the texture. So what happens if you are using the bacterium Propionibacterium shermani in making cheese, then you will get a cheese which is having a large number of holes in it. So the texture is changed, right? On the other hand, there is one more cheese called Roquefort cheese. So Roquefort cheese is actually prepared, this is Roquefort cheese. Roquefort cheese. So it is actually prepared by using a fungi which is called as Penicillium roqueforti. So these blue molds that you can see, can you see the blue molds here? See, these blue molds are nothing but the Penicillium fungi. So these Penicillium fungi, they actually add a peculiar taste to the cheese. So there is a major difference between the taste of the Swiss cheese and the taste of the Roqueforti cheese. Why? Because in Roqueforti cheese, they are usually ripened or fermented by growing a specific fungi, that is Penicillium roqueforti. They use a special fungi called as Penicillium roqueforti, which will actually give them a particular flavor. Not just that, when you look at the color also, you can see blue molds in between. That is because of this particular Penicillium fungi. So next, talking about the role of microbes in industrial products. So far we understood what are the role of microbes in the household products, that is in preparation of curds, in preparation of various traditional drinks and foods, and also in the preparation of cheese, how they are used. Next, we'll talk about the use of microbes on a larger scale, that is in the industry. So for various industrial products, microbes are used, be it the manufacture of alcohol on a large amount or be it the manufacture of antibiotics on a large amount. So microbes are used to synthesize a large number of products which are of great value to the human beings, such as the beverages. Various beverages and antibiotics are being produced on a large scale by using microbes in the industries, and production on an industrial scale requires large amount of microbes, right? So you need to culture the microbes or multiply the microbes on a larger amount. How can it be done? So in the industries, they will grow the microbes in special vessels called as fermenters. So these are large fermenters into which the microbes will be fed, and to the microbes proper nutrients will be given, proper amount of temperature, all that will be given so that the microbes will start multiplying or reproducing on a larger scale. So that is how they use very large vessels called as fermenters. So that is how they increase the amount of microbes in the industry. We cannot say that one few amount of lactobacillus cannot be used. If you need to produce a large amount of curd and all that, you need larger amount of lactobacillus. So how can you culture them on a larger scale? Again, through fermenters here. So that is how they use fermenters. Even for alcohol preparation on a large scale, for that also you need large amount of microbes. How can it be got? By culturing the microbes in fermenters. So these are the vessels which are used for large scale cultivation of the microbes. They are called as the fermenters. So now we have got the microbes are cultured in fermenters, and whatever like you need to prepare a alcohol or something, all that will be done in the fermenter itself. It will not be done separately. So in the fermenter itself it will be done. So we shall see what are the different types of fermented beverages can be produced in the fermentation plant. So here you can see the picture of a fermentation plant. So this is a huge setup wherein large fermenters are there, and the fermentation process can be carried out on a larger scale so that the beverages, the alcohol, everything can be supplied on a larger scale to the population. So apart from that, so for making alcohol, one of the common microorganism that is used is the yeast. It is called as the brewer's yeast. So we have one is baker's yeast and the other one is brewer's yeast. So baker's yeast is used for household purposes, that is to make bread and all that, and bakery purposes, that is small scale purposes. But for brewing alcohol in the industrial scale, we need brewer's yeast. Brewer's yeast has been used since a very long time in order to produce or ferment beverages like wine, then beer, whiskey, brandy and also rum. So here what they do is they ferment the malt. So malt can be in the form of, that is, rice malt, wheat bran malt, or wheat husk malt. So all that can be used, or the malts of cereals, that is, as I told you, the rice, wheat cereal, then fruit juices, and all these, that is fruits. They also, to fruit also, if you add the brewer's yeast and provide an optimum temperature along with sugar and all that, it will ferment to produce an alcohol. That is how ethanol, that is alcoholic beverages, are actually produced. So here wine and that is beer are actually produced without distillation, whereas whiskey, brandy and rum and all that, they will undergo distillation process, that is process of the fermented broth. So what happens here? They will add the microbes to a fermenter. So in the fermenter, condition of the fermenter will be in such a way that it is optimum for the microbes to grow on a larger scale. So in that particular fermenter, now they will add these wheat cereals and all that. So the wheat cereals and all that will become a malt. To that malt, again, if you add brewer's yeast, it will ferment and it will get converted into an alcohol, that is, be it wine, beer, or whatever, different types of alcohol. Now those alcohol, again, you have to distill that particular alcohol. You have to purify it further. Wine and beer can be used as such without distillation, but the other alcohols such as whiskey, rum, brandy and all that has to undergo distillation process. That is also done in fermentation industries. In fermentation industries or fermentation plants itself, all these will be done. So this is about the role of yeast, that is brewer's yeast, in fermentation industry, that is industries which produce alcoholic beverages. So next, talking about the production of the antibiotics. So antibiotic comes from the Greek word wherein anti means against and bio means life. So together they are put together and they are called as against life. So here, though they are against life, they are good for the human beings. They are not against the life of the human beings, but they are used against the life of a microorganism or a bacteria in order to protect the life of a human being, right? So there are these antibiotics are nothing but various chemical substances which are produced by some microbes that can kill that particular microbe or prevent that particular microbe from multiplying and causing a lot of diseases. So that is why antibiotics are used. So antibiotics cannot be produced on a small scale because antibiotics are available in a larger extent to the population, right? So how can we prepare antibiotics on such large scale? So it can be prepared in various ways. So before moving to that, we shall study about the different types of antibiotics that are prepared. So the first example is penicillin. So penicillin was actually discovered by Alexander Fleming from the fungi, that is Penicillium notatum. So here penicillin was discovered by Alexander Fleming and it was an accidental discovery. So actually Alexander Fleming was actually working on a bacteria called Staphylococcus aureus. He had many petri dishes on which Staphylococcus aureus was growing. So one fine day he found out, so in one petri dish or in few petri dishes, he noticed that some blue color mold was growing on the petri dish. So say for example, this is a petri plate. In this, lots of Staphylococcus bacteria are growing on this. So these are Staphylococcus aureus bacteria. So these Staphylococcus aureus, he had culture plates of them. Later on, after a few days, when he went and saw, he could see small blue color mold-like structures growing on them, which is nothing but it was Penicillium notatum. So it was Penicillium notatum that was growing on that. And he found out that wherever this Penicillium notatum was there, surrounding that particular region, no Staphylococcus aureus was growing. Everywhere in the petri dish, Staphylococcus aureus was growing. But where there was this Penicillium mold, only in that surrounding that particular region, Staphylococcus aureus was not growing. That is when he found out maybe this Penicillium fungi, that is the Penicillium notatum fungi, is giving out certain compounds or is emitting certain compounds which is preventing the Staphylococcus bacteria to grow further. So that is when he understood maybe to prevent Staphylococcus bacteria, penicillin can be used. That is the accidental discovery that he did, that is Alexander Fleming. And later on, two scientists, that is Ernest Chain and Howard Florey. So you can see Ernest Chain and Howard Florey. So they are the ones who actually commercialized penicillin. So they used this particular penicillin to treat a number of wounded soldiers, that is during the World War II, a lot of American wounded soldiers, they started to treat because it is an antibiotic, right? And when is antibiotic used? To prevent certain infections and all that, so that the bacteria will not grow there. So to treat the wounds and all that, they started giving the patients penicillin. And that is when the penicillin started to become commercialized. So that is why, because of the discovery of Fleming, then Alexander Fleming, Ernest Chain and Florey, these three scientists were awarded the Nobel Prize in the year 1945 for their discovery of the penicillin, because penicillin was accidentally discovered by Alexander Fleming. So making known to other people is also very important, right? So that is why equal credits were given to Chain, and that is Ernest Chain and Howard Florey as well. So this was about one important antibiotic, penicillin. So penicillin was the first antibiotic to be discovered. So next, apart from that, there are other uses of microbes in the industries as well. Say for example, they are used in chemicals, enzymes and other bioactive molecules. So a lot of organic acids, then a lot of alcohols and enzymes, all that are produced by the microbes as well. And they can be produced on a large scale in the industry. So I'll explain how microbes are used as organic acids. So here, there are certain examples which I have taken for organic acids, wherein one such example is the fungi, that is Aspergillus niger. So we have Aspergillus niger here. Aspergillus niger is actually a black mold fungi. So Aspergillus niger actually produces a organic compound which is called as citric acid. So this citric acid, it is used in various juice products. So not just that, the citric acid is also used as a food preservative. So for all that, it is being used. And then there is one more that is bacteria, which is called as Acetobacter aceti. So Acetobacter aceti is usually used in the production of the acetic acid. And acetic acid also, it is used in the making up of vinegar, and also it is used as a preservative. So acetic acid is also used as a preservative. And one more is the bacteria, that is Clostridium butylicum. So Clostridium butylicum is a bacteria which is actually used to produce butyric acid. And this butyric acid, it is used in a converted form. It is used in the paints, manufacturing paints and all that. So for that it is used. Next is one more important one, lactobacillus. So lactobacillus, that is, it is a lactic acid bacteria which is used in the production of lactic acid. So this lactic acid can be used for various fermentation processes. So that is how these organic acids are obtained from the microbes in a large scale in the industries. So next, moving on to some of the examples for alcohols, because I told you microbes are used in a large scale in the industries for the production of various alcohols. So the best example is Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is called as the baker's yeast, or it can be used as a brewer's yeast in order to produce alcohol, that is ethanol. So some of the examples. Next, some of the examples for enzymes. How microbes are used in producing various enzymes. So here, there is one enzyme which is called as lipases. So this lipases, which is produced by the microbe, is actually used in making detergents. Why? Because if the detergents has lipases in them, it is said that, or it is proved that lipases can remove the dirt and the stain from the cloth material or from the laundry very easily. That is why they are used in making detergent formulations. And not just that, there are various other enzymes that are got from microbes, such as we have pectinases. So pectinases and all that can be derived from penicillium. So pectinases and proteases, so they are used in bottled juices. So you might have noticed that the juice that we prepare at home is somewhat turbid. It is not clear. A bottled fruit juice, it will be somewhat clear, right? Clearer. And the consistency will be same throughout the bottle. So how is that possible? It is because of the usage of a particular enzyme called as pectinases and proteases. Not just that, pectinases are also used in juice industries because these pectinases can break open the cell wall of the particular plant material and extract the juice out of it very easily. So for that also it is used. And apart from that, there is the Streptococcus bacteria which produces an enzyme called as streptokinase. So this streptokinase is again genetically modified and it is used as a clot buster. So clot buster is nothing but usually a person gets a heart attack because of the clots that are present in their arteries and the veins of the heart, right? So how to open that, or how to make that clot get diminished from the blood, and how the blood can flow easily? It is because of this clot buster. Is nothing but it consists of streptokinase, which is got from the bacteria Streptococcus, and this streptokinase is actually available in the form of tablets, so that whoever heart patient is there who's having a minimal amount of block and all that in his heart, they can be cleared off. So that is why it is used. So next, talking about some of the microbes which can be used in the manufacture of various bioactive molecules. So one such example is Trichoderma polysporum. So Trichoderma, so this is Trichoderma. So Trichoderma polysporum is actually, it is used in the manufacture of a particular drug which is called as cyclosporin A. And this cyclosporin A is actually a immunosuppressant, or it is an immunosuppressive agent which is especially used in patients who are undergoing organ transplant. So here what happens here is, so during organ transplant, say for example, there is a patient A, he needs an organ from a person. So they will search for a compatible person, and from that person the organ has to be transplanted into the patient. Now to the patient, that particular organ is a foreign body, right? Because it doesn't belong to his body. It is coming from a donor. So here what happens here is, as soon as the patient receives the organ from the donor, or as soon as the organ is transplanted to the patient, all our immune cells will think that it is a foreign body and it will start to attack it. So that particular organ will become incompatible to that particular patient. So in order to avoid that, they use immunosuppressants. So until the transplantation procedure and all that is over, and until a certain time period, what they will do is they will give the patients the immunosuppressant medicine, that is cyclosporin A. From where did they get the cyclosporin A? It is got from bioactive molecule that is got from Trichoderma polysporum. So when they give that patient the immunosuppressants, it will reduce the number of immune cells in that particular patient. So lesser the number of immune cells in the patient, lesser is the attack by the immune cell to the organ, thinking that it is a foreign body. So that is why they use the cyclosporin A. Next we have one more fungi, that is yeast. That is Monascus purpurus. So Monascus purpurus, so this is a yeast which is Monascus purpurus. So this yeast, actually it is used in the preparation of a drug called as statins. So statins is one such drug which is available in the tablet form, and that statin actually it is used as a control the blood cholesterol. So people who are having high amount of cholesterol or the bad fats in their blood, they can be used. So that is why they are commercialized as blood cholesterol lowering agents. And these statins, that is the statins that are there, which is derived from Monascus purpurus, which is a yeast, Actually, it inhibits the enzyme that is responsible for the synthesis of cholesterol. So, when the enzyme itself is not produced, then how will cholesterol get formed in the body? It is not possible. So, that is why they use the statins. But in spite of all this, it is better to control the cholesterol level by consuming healthy food, not using all the junk foods. By only eating or sticking on to a healthy food habit, you have to reduce the cholesterol, and by good exercise. So, by that also cholesterol can be reduced. It is not always recommended to depend on statins to reduce the cholesterol in the body. But in spite of that, there are some people, the cholesterol level cannot be brought down in spite of doing or maintaining a healthy habit and a lot of exercise and all that. In such patients, statins can be used to lower the cholesterol in the blood. So, these are the examples of how microbes can be used in the bioactive molecule. So, I hope you have understood this session wherein we have studied about the role of microbes in household products as well as role of microbes in the industries. How microbes can be used in the industries to manufacture various drugs, then various antibiotics and various alcoholic beverages. So, in the coming session, we shall discuss about the role of microbes in sewage treatment. So, to purify the wastewater, how microbes actually help. So, for that there are two types of treatment that the water has to undergo. One is the primary treatment and the other one is the secondary treatment. So, how exactly this is done on a large scale, we shall see in the coming session. So, we shall meet again in the coming session. Thank you.